we know that the problem has been there for many, many years. The positive bit is at this moment in time is that it is now really becoming very prevalent. It's becoming recognised. But in answer to that question, Pete, at the end of the day, it is a combination of, should I say, lack of awareness. I think that's getting better. Lack of funding, lack of recognition, so many things really. I think we're getting there, but it's just taking so long. The wheel is beginning to turn a bit faster now, but we need it to turn a lot faster, as you say. It is there at the moment. We have the capability of actually reducing in lots of ways the risk to firefighters and emergency responders at the end of the day. So we've just got to push. But it's sad that it's taken this long to get where we're at.
So there's another combination too. Building materials have changed. Technology is advancing. We've now got EVs. We've got different exposures that we didn't have. So the risks are increasing exponentially as well and fast. And just trying to keep up with that. And then the backfill of that is actually, we've got a lot of old kit. We've got a lot of old trucks. So it's like a double whammy, I even see. And technology is advancing so quick that we're not keeping pace with it with our health and safety practices. So
thinking about the way in which technology is advancing, and also maybe just zooming out and thinking about decontamination a little bit more holistically, when it comes to contamination, we can think of it through one lens of, I'm at the job, the hot thing there is giving off the black smoke, especially in the work that you're involved in. What do you think are some of the common misconceptions around our exposure to these toxic chemicals?
I think they're underestimating how bad some of this stuff truly is. And just that it's not ignorance, it's just like the lack of education, lack of knowledge. But this stuff's more volatile. This stuff is off-gassing worse. It's giving us a lot of worse things that we're having to deal with. And I just think it's just the awareness of that is another compounding factor.
When you're looking at that element of off-gassing, and we're talking about this clean cab element of it, what has been some of the studies, the research, the evidence that has led you to create this solution?
I think we can see evidentially what people are dying from and how that is exponentially growing and exponentially affecting the emergency service, and especially the fire related. And then we're doing a lot of our own studies as well. So we're using in-cab air quality monitoring. We're using building air quality monitoring. We're using external quality monitoring, and we're capturing the data that actually shows the extent of these risks.
So what is that showing? So
it's showing.
What data are we getting from that?
We keep the data for ourselves and share it with the agencies that we're participating with. But I think it can visualize those risks in a form that you can say, well, here's the number.
Gives
here's
a metric to it.
Here's an accepted baseline. You're 50 times the recommended exposure risk.
And it's recognisable now.
Yes.
So just by those, the equipment, the devices that we're utilising now, it is recognisable. It's been there, but it's never been recognised, has it?
It's making it visible,
Absolutely.
And also independently, and also done very quickly in your own backyard, because it's always nice to hear about what someone else's problem is. But once you show that in your own backyard, then you have to do something about it. You have to acknowledge it. And
I imagine it's like
the thing,
50, 60 years ago when people started learning of asbestos, and they go, is there any of this in our building? And someone goes,
everywhere.
And you go,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And exactly that. And we've heard stories today, stories and evidence from some of the speakers at the event. I mean, me, from my own sins, I was a 46-year firefighter, joined in the 70s, and it's just it's all there, and we just carried on with it, and you smelt the smoke, and it was either black, or it was white, or it was brown, or whatever. Now, and we got on with it and didn't really take on board.
We didn't know though either. I always say if we'd have known better, we'd have done better.
No, we didn't. No.
But now we know better. That's what's becoming uncomfortable. It's a little bit like, well, I don't know I'm going into debt. But then when you start looking at the bank account and going, every month I'm down $1,000, and you go, I can't keep ignoring, this isn't sustainable.
No.
This is almost, neglect of some capacity, especially when we talk about the Management Health and Safety at Work Act and things like that. I know about this now, and the fact that I'm either choosing to not do something about it or it's not being legislated, therefore I'm not inclined to put this change in place. You're almost maliciously doing it now because you know.
Oh, yeah. And truly, until it starts to affect someone or you personally, you don't have that level of care or awareness. And then you find, as people are now starting, especially the people who've been in it longer, the prevalence of cancer and that, these are the people that are going to have to start to take note because their mates are going to be dropping off. Their mates are affected. So, I think as that awareness comes in, there might be a little bit more. But it's also gone so far past the point that we find with some of our technology, they're willing to put it into the new vehicles, but to retrofit it, it's just so much money, and it's so hard for them to take that bite to actually then go and do the whole fleet. And then it's a bit like, well, you can do that vehicle, but you can't do everyone else's, and you're protecting a few people. And so there's some real dilemmas.
That's really uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Why should that crew, as opposed to that crew, that do the same thing?
Yeah. So there's some real dilemmas.
So it goes back to funding. Change we know is not easy, but it has to happen. It's got to happen. And
what's different about this is so many times in the past we don't mind, or we've been more inclined to adopt change if it's something exciting and sexy and it's an efficiency. This is your safety.
Yeah.
I always thought health and safety was non-negotiable. At the detriment, sometimes you went, oh, for God's sake, have I really got to do the thing? Have I got to put my helmet on? Have I got to walk in between the lines and not cross the drill yard? Whatever.
Yeah.
I always thought that stuff was non-negotiable. But this seems to be the first time in my career where I've confronted a subject, and I'm astonished the government doesn't just go, legislation, here's an additional portion of money. It's not your fault, but now we know about it. Because I suppose that's the frustration. If this problem were approached from that angle, it'd probably be more adopted. But at a minute, we're saying to you, you've got a shrinking pot already. 80% of your budget is spent on staffing. Yep. Now do that as well. And you're like, well, hang on a minute, it's not my fault. This is new. This is news to all of us. Yeah. Why are you asking me to do it?
Maybe when they start looking at the expenses of what it's actually costing.
I was going to say, there's already a cost.
Oh, yeah.
Someone's absorbing that cost on the back end. You just don't realise it. There's always there's no solutions, only trade-offs.
Yeah.
So you at the minute are not, you're not paying the small cost up front, and someone else is paying the cost.
The back end.
Whether that be the NHS, whether that be this person in their private life that never draws their pension, and the two people who just sat with me a minute ago, Martin's family, they'll pay the cost in private. No one will know. No one will know. Fucking go over there, shush. Do you know what I mean? Someone is already paying that cost.
Yeah. So when they bring that cost forward and then they start to have some accountability for this stuff, then I think there'll be some more awareness and willingness to contribute.
But and the other thing that I genuinely believe is the acceptance is still not sufficiently high enough.
Really?
I genuinely believe that, in as much as that there are still organisations that don't see this, as you've said, a health and safety issue. Firefighters are dying as a priority to actually get in amongst it. And they're okay. The positive bit is that we do see organisations now beginning, some more than others, because of whatever reason, either belief or funding or attitude. But it's just not gained it's gaining impetus, but it's not gained sufficient impetus at this moment in time. And I don't know why.
It's the old term of like fiddling while Rome burns. It feels like we major in minor things. We're all trying to decide what gender we are, or what other thing we need to be aligning to, or whether or not the air conditioning is sexist. Yeah. I'm like, we're missing the massive thing that's screaming us in the face. Yeah. And I just think it's like a political beach ball that they're throwing around all these other subjects, and you go, are we missing the point here? Yeah. Are we missing the goddamn point? I have grave concern for it. What are some of the biggest challenges you have in terms of getting that awareness out when you go on to stations and you demonstrate this kit? Is it a eureka moment where people see the number and they go, Oh my God.
There is generally no pushback.
Okay.
I've not ever had anyone go, oh, yes, you'll be
Don't
fine.
believe it.
Don't. Like, everyone quite plainly sees
Everyone
it.
sits
And
in a
then-
cab, they smell it. It's
Oh,
not
absolutely.
rocket science, is
Absolutely.
it?
You go home and your family smells it. You stop smelling it. You go home to your family, they're now smelling it. Your missus is looking at you, your kids are looking at you. Like, it's there and it's in your face. I think it's the true problem of finding the funding, and it's a real problem everywhere. It's just it's where priorities lie, and that's
the
creating
sad
that
bit.
problem. Yeah.
That is the sad bit, that when you go out, particularly the key players in all of this, the firefighters on the trucks, doing the deed, absolutely, totally and utterly. Wow,
It's a full-on light
this
bulb
is
moment. Yeah. Everyone's
wow,
like, it's not one person.
Why
going,
haven't we got it? And then the next breath, as the next statement is, and how much is it?
No, I was about to say a lot of people have heard of the concept, and I think they've probably seen photos of things from the States.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, before we close, if people do want to see a model and learn a bit more information about it, we'll try and stick a link underneath. But where's the best place for people to go if they actually want to see a working model of it?
Well, the working model, working model now, we are in various fire and rescue services now.
Okay.
Particularly on the south coast, where we've done.
Yeah.
I mean, we have the working model of everything here at Biggin Hill. They are an adopter of it.
Beautiful.
We have Hampshire, we have Berkshire, we have Gloucestershire now, just having them fitted to their trucks. Fire and rescue service. So it's beginning to grow, but. A demonstration through Toxic G2SR, obviously, which are available. And yes, we are the positive bit. We're beginning to get much more interest in it because it is a eureka moment, Pete. There's no question about it.
I've ridden in a truck with it, and it is a real moment where you go, oh God,
and it's so easy.
It's a bit like sometimes when you go in someone's house and they've been a smoker all their life, and they probably can't smell it anymore.
No.
And you go, how do you not smell that? It goddamn stinks.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this is the sort of thing like, are we just accepting it?
And you, like me, particularly with a fire background, I'll walk on a fire station and say, it stinks.
Of course it stinks.
Of course it stinks.
But should it?
No.
Of course it shouldn't.
Exactly.
But we've all put
Just
up
because
with
it
that.
does, should it? Yeah.
You go in the drying room, you go in the BA cleaning room, you just go in it stinks. And it can be mitigated, and it stinks because there is contamination there.
But I also think this is eating an elephant. No, you're right. So incremental improvement. We don't have to change this tomorrow. As long as we're constantly working towards small changes,
Marginal
better
gains,
practices. And just keep on with the marginal gains. And I mean, our products support that. Wash your hands. Like that's the simplest marginal gain. Clean your kit. Have your kit cleaned properly, professionally. Don't drag it home, chuck it in with mum's and the kids' clothes. There are little incremental changes that can be achieved, and then there's other stuff that we can help support that to give more added and incremental change. So as long as we have that mindset and not go, this is just too much, it's too big, just keep chipping away on it, and don't let it stop.
It's a change. It's several changes, but it's a change in behaviour, attitude, and acceptance, and then what additional capabilities or devices, procedures, processes are available out there, and it all fits together.
And the irony is, the more it gets adopted, also the cheaper it becomes eventually.
Of course,
do you know what I mean? It's all scalable. Everybody knows that with anything.
And a lot of this stuff will become standard. It'll be just installed standard. And a lot of the technology.
I sincerely hope in 10 years, 20 years, people will look back and go, God, I can't believe you never had these.
You never one of them.
Can't believe you never had one of these. How ridiculous.
But the other thing is we've got to be ongoing and vigilant, and also be aware of all the new challenges, and not just go, we've solved this problem, because I'll keep saying
rest on our laurels,
EVs, the off-gassing of EVs, people think it's a smoke. No, it's a vapor cloud. Like there's another whole new threat that's developing that we should be in front of that now and thinking about that now, not so in 10
That's
years.
accelerating away from us.
Absolutely. It's an exponential curve, and it's just climbing. So these are the things we should be on now, so we're not having the same discussion in 10 years going, I've got half my lungs eaten away from sucking a bit of vapor now. Like there's some real issues. So I think this awareness, this discussion, continuing these discussions, I think is a way forward.
It's happening.
I think it's really exciting. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks,
I really
Pete.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
I'll catch you soon.